Alright, hey guys, what's up? I'm going to be doing a bit of a VOD review here. I just recently watched this Grizzlies vs XL2 game, and I wanted to go over it with my audience to talk about some things because I think this series might be getting overblown in the fact that people thought it was good, but I thought that this match itself, or this map itself, was actually really low level. So I guess we'll go over it and we'll talk about some things. So before we talk about some things, there's a bit of a caveat to talk about XL2. I think Nene didn't want to play apparently because there's some seeding thing in like map choice or map team priority, so they get the match and so they get the ping, and then Grizzlies has the ping because they're in like Canada and Toronto and it's really far away from Korea, so Nene didn't want to play. And then they wanted to force East Coast, but I imagine they couldn't. And Grizzlies was like, let's just force whatever, West Coast or wherever they are. And so Nene had awful ping, and they didn't want to do that, so they didn't have him in for the first map. So I'm not sure if Flower is practiced on Tracer, or if it's just like the case of Nene would have awful ping, so let's just put Flower in on Tracer, but we'll watch. But I mean, they talk him up like initially, but he literally is just in such an awful position. I mean, he's like, Tracers normally play like in these areas over here, like down here, or just like up here on the high ground, and he was playing like in the bubble, and then he just gets hit with a Pharah rocket and then just gets spammed out. So I mean, it's just like pretty whack positioning. There's also a lot of prioritization with Mangachu going for the 1v1s on Spirit. I think he assumed that he can just go for them all the time, basically because he thinks he outskills Spirit, so you'll see a lot of that where Mangachu is really just prioritizing the 1v1s. He fails killing the res. There's a lot of this you basically just get Tracer and Farrakhan for a lot of this, but we'll see. I'm not exactly sure what they were trying to do right there. You can see like all of XL2 was like standing in the choke. They didn't have their Winston. They just like let them cap the point, and they were kind of just all standing here, and then they just wait for them to cap the point, and then they just walk away. But Mangachu is still like super far in the background, like actually going for kills still while his team's backed up. So I imagine there's some like really poor communication going on there where they were like, someone was saying, let's back up, let's back up. Mangachu's like, no, go in, I'm gonna get a pick. And so there was like, you can tell from just watching this clip that there's some like miscommunication going on. I think something you'll also notice a lot is just from Flower's Tracer style, he goes for a lot of 1v1s and actually like flanking and trying to kill people on his own, while you'll see Zapri prioritize diving with people and like actually finishing up kills and not just going for things on his own all the time, where it seems like Flower is doing that much more often than his counterpart. Midnight doesn't have a suit right now, so Spirit's trying to play like super aggressively, but you can see Mangachu right here. He takes this really, really weird thing. I imagine it's more miscommunication where he wants to, so when you're coming over, like a lot of times if you're on defense or you have the point already, as far you want to be like hovering around this airspace, and then they're forcing their far to either fly over this building in these really tight corridors, and then you can actually fly closer and like really stuff them in this area because they don't have a lot of room to like shift up to, and they don't have a lot of mobility over there. Or you stuff them to like force them go all the way around over here. But you can see he was going over here and he was like actively trying to stuff, so it was like far here, But you could see that, like, as soon as he went for this aggressive play, like, Goliath leaves him, and so, like, they start trading rockets, and Spirit's just going to win because he has the pocket with him. Because you can see Goliath went down to help his tanks. My nose is super itchy, I'm sorry. Yeah. They had to use basically Primal just to stall that. Spirit dies, it's pretty poor. Like, there's a ton of trading that really doesn't need to be happening. If they had just walked in together, I think this would have been really free for Grizzlies. Like, I think it's important to note... Let's go back. You can see Mangachu is so far out from his Mercy right now, but we can see, like, if we just take a Lie of the Land... Clone Man uses Primal, and then, like, they've lost this fight, basically. Like, they don't have suit. Or no, he just bombed, or Midnight's just now getting a suit. But, Spirit had killed Mangachu. They're all kind of low. They should have an advantage right here. Like, they're walking in. They have the crossfire over here. Like, Farrah can shoot over here, and they have the tanks coming around here. They should have a crossfire. They should have the team pinned down. They should be able to clean this up. But we can see Spirit on the backside over here. I don't know if his team communicated it to him, but he like went aggressively over here, flew low, and Midnight just immediately jumped on him. While you can see Blam is over here, healing the rest of his team. So they had a good crossfire, and then they just get split up. Adam's touching the point. They're just suiciding onto the point at this juncture. But none of this needed to happen. Like, if they would have just collapsed on them and walked on them properly, they wouldn't have needed Barrage. I imagine they probably wouldn't have needed Valk because they had the pick advantage already, and they would have been able to push in with the crossfire. So they ended up having to use like two, maybe 3 ults that they didn't have to use. Yeah, Clone Man's off on his own. I think they want to res this, but it's hard to see what's going on in this fight, but we can see here the plan is to have Flower touch the point, pull some pressure back, and then they have a few people who were in kitchen trying to walk out, and like as soon as Flower's on the point, you have to walk back. So they had people coming from here, and they had people coming from here. So you can see Grizzlies has to turn right here. And then they had Pharmacy flying over top. But when you do this, you want fast fights where you pressure them, and so you want to reset basically where you have Tracer touch the point, and you force members of their team to like come back from the high ground and like actually come to the point, and so you can get a full reset with your group. Because they're going to be like sitting as like a 6-man unit, or they're going to have like a bunch of people over here and a bunch of people over here, and the healers are going to be able to heal their tanks. But whenever you have this really split approach where you have people coming from kitchen, your Pharmacy sitting up here flying over top, and you have people coming from main, any poke that you take in this fight is going to be really punishing because you're going to have to reset. Sure, you have the pressure where you're going to force the enemy team to now move, but you can see Clone Man's low and Goliath is nowhere close to him. And there's no surprise Tracer jumps on him, but he just is a bot and doesn't like save himself. I don't know if he didn't have recall there, but like it's a huge stagger. If we look at their ults, we can see from before, just because XL2 had a pretty poor push before, Grizzlies didn't get punished with their ult charges, so it actually doesn't look that bad for them. They're playing super aggressive right here, but we can see beat versus no beat. They have beat advantage, they're using it, but the Pharah isn't making use of it really. You can see beat wears off. Spirit now has a window where he can use his barrage. Again, they're still trading up there, but you ideally on defense want the enemy team to be coming in and not be using their mercy, because they're going to be taking damage while they're walking in. Like a lot of times the tanks are going to be like taking rockets and such, so Spirit just ends up surviving in this, and then if your Pharah just lives longer and you're trading basically evenly on the point, then your Pharah can come in, and if he makes the bigger play, then he can come in and actually have more impact. You can point blank barrage the enemy Pharah as well to win the fight. It didn't seem like there was a good approach from XL2 to actually like retake the point, and that's what I felt like was like a big problem for them, is like Flower doesn't understand what you need to do to like take ground on Tracer and like actually create an advantage on your own. Which Nene is like really, really good at. So we can see now it's Sombra versus Genji. It's important to note the different play styles of these teams. So Flower is going for a flank. We can see the tanks basically are just like in this group right here. Support's on the stairs over here, support's over here for the other team. But Tracer's flanking over here. And we can see who's getting traded on HP. So Graceful's getting hit by Flower. So Flower's like flanking and he has like pressure of like people looking at him, but a lot of times whenever you're solo Tracer flanking, you don't have a lot of pressure to actually kill people, because you don't really have anyone to finish them off unless you one-clip them. But if we continue to spectate this, he is shooting D.Va. He's clipping D.Va. He's like putting pressure onto D.Va, but D.Va's getting healed, and a lot of his members on his team are actually getting pressured. Because with this team comp, you want to play off of a hack and win the fight from the hack. You don't beat this. You don't beat the burst damage that Genji is going to provide. You need to get a hack on the backline or on the D.Va or something. So I would have liked to see Mangachu get a flank or get Matrix to actually get a good hack on someone, but that doesn't happen, and Flower doesn't end up being as effective as I think he could be, as if a hack went off. He's shooting people, you can see that, but you saw from Grizzly's side, like they had multiple people dive together and actually create room for Spirit to get resets. When you have these mirror comps, you need to play to your win condition of your comp, and so if it's Genji versus Sombra, the only difference is you play around them, because like everything else is going to be pretty standard between the two teams. So for Mangachu's case, you need to get a hack to win a fight. For Genji, you want to get poke and actually land a dash on someone. So right here, you play to the win condition of your fight and the win condition of your hero. They're taking ground slowly right here, which is good because you put pressure. You walk up and you lessen the pressure of your supports actually getting clipped by their Genji, and you force them to dash back. This is good. You take ground. If you get a hack, it's actually a really big deal here. Goliath and Trance. Like, I think if they trance there, they for sure would have won this fight. 100%. Clone Man dies. I guess they lost their suit as well. But I mean, I guess you got to come into the fight and understand and like make a call for what you actually want to do, because this is a winnable fight, I think, if you trance, because the other team is going to get trance in time. They don't have Lucio. If you just Trance, execute on Blam. I think you can win this because they'll have just health advantage across the board. Sure, they don't have Suit, but they have Flower, Mangachu, and Adam that can all now play super aggressively and run them down. They decide not to now, but now they get the full reset where basically they're going to have like even ult charge, and so Grizzly's going to have more room to do things. I don't know what Mangachu was doing there. He got his like decloaked and he just walked back into Zapri. It was really poor. Both these teams seemed pretty unsure of what they actually wanted to do. This seems like they actually have a plan now of what they want to do. I don't know if there was proper scouting here. Like, if you send the entire team, so like, okay, there's a little bit of scouting as they were passing through main. But if you want your whole team to walk through here and you have Tracer and Mangachu, so Flower and Mangachu, both walking this way, so you have the full 6-man team walking this way, you haven't properly scouted actually anywhere yet. Maybe you've seen like people on point, but a lot of times there's like someone hiding like over here, maybe close to the wall over here. So like you really need to check that area out before. So I would have liked them to swing out a little bit slower to actually scout this, because we end up seeing what happens is like they're swinging out, there isn't the proper amount of scouting, and like their backline is already over here as they're turning. Sure, they might have the plan to actually turn the fight from this position, but you can see how they're slow to react to the enemy's like aggressive push. When if you have the right idea about like scouting, then I don't think that happens where you don't have people being as surprised. And it's important not to be surprised because you don't want to have like an over ult usage and like not understand how you're going to retake the point. Also, Grizzlies, I hate when teams do this. They have 99%, the team's retaking, they have 6 ults. You want to just play aggressively and force ults out without using your own ults. Whenever you start to spam your own ults, it makes your retakes garbage. Because now they don't have Trance, Primal, and Pulse. They can get Pulse, but like, look at the ults they're playing against. Like it's going to be just an uphill battle to build ults back, and a lot of times, sometimes the enemy team doesn't have to use ults to retake or hold the point. So you just put yourself in this like massive deficit where you either hard commit and assume you're going to win the fight, but a lot of times you have to get a pick first, or you're in this situation where you now have to dig yourself out of a hole. Okay, they're trying to retake from far right together. This is fine. You can see though, they used 3 ults the fight before. They lost Zapri already, and they're still committing. They use Sound Barrier and Blade, and this Blade is garbage, dude. What the fuck is he doing? He's blading a fucking Primaled Monkey. Full health Primaled Monkey. The Diva Bomb was bad. It's just so garbage. Where's the game planning with ult usage? There was like actually none right there. They lose someone, and then there's no mid-fight call, and they just triple dump ults. Triple dump ult in like a losing fight to make it like a mega losing fight. This is so bad. Yeah, I don't know what they were trying to do right there for this fight. Like, oh, I just moved that. Whoops. So, let's pause and go back. So you can see their idea. Like, They have Genji. They want to get a dive. They want to get resets. They want to like burst something down. They don't want to get hacked. And a lot of times, if you don't want to get hacked, you have to move your tanks and like people together. So they walk together and are looking for a dive. But I feel like it seems disjointed. Like they didn't really take that much ground. Like they got on point, but then they just get flanked. And they haven't really dove anything. Like Zapri went in, and then Spirit kind of went in like a little bit later, but they didn't like take ground to give room for their support. So it was just like, it was basically just a dry push that accomplished nothing. And then, I don't even know what they're doing here. They like taking ground slowly, but then they just C9. Like it's so poor. Like if they would have saved like a little bit of ults, they actually would have had a chance at this map, but they just shot themselves in the foot, and then that last dry push was just awful. Okay, I'm going to sink them. Okay, I don't know if I speculate here, but I hate this comp from Grizzlies. And I think they might have practiced this, but it's garbage with the way they're playing it. Like, they basically play it like they're playing poke v poke, but just have shit poke compared to the other team. So it's really strange. And then they swap right after. Well, I guess we'll just watch it. Yeah, like I don't know what they're trying to do here. Like they obviously can't win poke v poke because they're running Sombra. So Graceful does like this weird like walk up to the point kind of feed thing, and then is like maybe the plan was like make room, but like they have people over here committing to like actually poking, but then Mangachu's trying to flank over here. And so Daehoon has to like fly through mass poke zone control to heal his Orisa that's like 1 HP. It seems super disjointed. So, yeah. Basically just sack first point because of that. Oh, that was really, really poor. And now they're swapping. This is good. This is smart. Now I talk about this usually with a lot of teams that I work with, but it's important to abuse the things that the enemies don't have. So you see on the enemy team, they are a slow-moving setup comp. So they set up, they sit behind shields, and they shoot. What is Grizzlies? They're a fast mobile comp with Lucio that can make fast rotates. So they actually do a pretty good job of abusing this, where they completely rotate to the other side and they get collapsed on. You can see XL2, they can't rotate as fast because they don't have Lucio. You immediately just send all your people at the people that are caught out and that have not been able to rotate as quickly. I have no idea what Daehoon was doing there. Whatever. He pressed E. That's what his usefulness of that fight was. And then was in a bad spot afterwards, but really smart. They swap dive. They get the out rotation with the speed boost. That's good. But now XL2 doesn't have like a really good identity, I think. Like they have kind of zone control with like Orisa, Junkrat, and like Zen will sit back, but like Mercy is just going to be pocketing Junkrat and Zen a lot of the times, and then they're just going to send Flower off on his own to just do whatever. Zapri was in a garbage position relative to where the rest of his team was. But I think I'd rather them have Flower like So you take ground. This is garbage, by the way. So let's go back a little bit. I'd rather have soldier, not just for the fact that I think it's better, but like you can have tracer be annoying over here, but like you can send your like 4 or 5 man unit over here, and then you can have soldier either parked over here, like creating a crossfire and have him get jumped on, but then have like max pressure on the point, force him back, or have the soldier just sitting over here on this ledge over here on like the corner, and then have him just you literally just have him crossfire over here or just shoot on the point, and then like Winston's going to get crossfired and he's going to be forced to either jump at you or he's just going to have to jump away or just die on the point. So Tracer somewhat accomplishes a similar thing, being able to clip him right here and he has to jump away, but I think Soldier would have accomplished the same thing. But no one can really follow up on this Tracer. Adam doesn't change beam to Mangachu, and like that can't happen. You can't have one person die like through an entire team. Like he should have been Matrix and he shouldn't have had heal beam dropped on him right there. I know he did a good job with aiming, but like that shouldn't happen. I feel like if there was a soldier, the Tracer's like getting cleanup kills and doing damage, but it's like really hard for her to finish kills just alone, basically, because it's just poke from the other side. I would have really liked to have a soldier standing over there for that entire fight, cross-firing, and being able to shoot the diva and everything. Because I feel like you create chaos on Grizzly's side, and then XL2 just falls over because you jump past the Orisa shield. But like if you have multiple points of shooting, so you have Junkrat shooting from behind the Orisa shield and then Soldier standing from away, they have to decide what they want to dive, and then they're going to be getting shot from the other source. But they just all stack together, and then Flower was kind of roaming around, but I mean, he just couldn't commit to kills. And I feel like that was the reoccurring theme, is like Flower wasn't able to like really dive anything with anyone else. A lot of times it was just him doing solo things. And I feel like that used to be Tracer's like more proficient style, was playing alone. But I feel like you set up flanks, you take 1v1 sometimes, but you want to set up flanks and actually get aggressive pushes together. I talked over that fight, but that was basically just like you put the Orisa shield down, Grizzlies just amp speed boost into them. And you just fight past the Orisa shield. So we'll talk about this, because this is actually a pretty game deciding fight right here. You can see they're all split up. Grizzly is trying to get information right here from their DPS. You can see Zapri's over here. He hears them, he sees them. Genji was over here, he sees them. And they go to play aggressively. They see the shield go down, and they look to speed past the shield. When you're running this comp, you want to be taking room. You don't want to be going all through the same choke and let yourselves get jumped on like this. You want to be taking room together. I hate this spot right here. I wanted to talk about it if there was a better angle. But you put yourselves in this choke, it's awful. So, like, you put the shield down. I want a better angle so I can explain this. Let's see if they go back to point so I can explain it. Okay, so your team all rotates out this corner and they're standing right here. They're standing all in this area, okay? There's literally nowhere from them to stand, like if they need to get away. There's like this tiny ass door. Their sight lines are garbage because there was a monkey hiding behind this wall. Hiding behind this wall, hiding behind this wall, hiding behind this wall. Like there's literally everyone just hiding behind walls, and so you're not creating any space. I so badly wanted them to play Soldier, because you can take these wider angles where if you swing out and you're standing over here, your angles are insane. You get to shoot all the way over here. You get to see all of the point. But whenever you're in this area right here, your angles are garbage. Like it's actually just like this area right here. and then this whole area, and then like the door over here, but no one's standing over there. I hate that push. I actually hate it. But basically the shield goes down, and then they just like all jump over past and then just come from behind. And then they're just fighting you on top of you, and you don't have shield anymore. And so your main tank's basically useless at that point. So I really wanted them to run Soldier, not just because I think it's meta, but I think you need it to take ground on this point. I hate running Tracer. And then they just panic, swap at the end here. There's really not a lot they can do, but I mean, this is having, like, I know they had, like, extenuating circumstances, but, like, some of these, like, plans were, like, bad, I think, and, like, maybe you just practice, like, a little bit with Flower on Tracer, but I feel like you just needed to pick Soldier there. Or just completely play, just dive v dive and try to beat them with that, but, like, playing this, like, poor man's zone control with Tracer just didn't make very much sense to me. And Flower's Tracer was like really underwhelming, so I don't know. XL2 dropped the ball here. Maybe it's because Flower's like really out of practice. I don't know how long he's been practicing with this team. They just made it public recently, so maybe it's not been that long. But it was really underwhelming. Like, the game planning and the dives were really bad. Like, some of them were just really poor. Like, you can have dry pushes in this game. I understand that you need to do it sometimes, but I like for there to be, like, a reason, like a game plan behind it and actually forcing something rather than just, let's dive into them and die. Okay? Like, if you don't do it efficiently, you're literally just going to feed further ult charge. You're not going to force any ults out of them. And for some of these pushes, it was just, like, super poor. Like, zero game plan. It was basically just like, let's walk here, and then they just die and keel over, and you just give them ult percentage, you give them more percentage on the point, and then sometimes they were just resetting their own ult economy. Like, they were just doing the poor dry push, and then they were using ults after the fact because people were calling for it. You can just tell it was really, really bad. So